Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me again. It is podcast time. Today is Tuesday, the 3rd of June, 2025, and I'll be talking about the energies for the week. Yesterday, Monday, the 2nd, till Sunday, the 8th of June. And it's a powerful week, this one. And yeah, just as I'm been feeling into things. I feel like just throughout the weekend and the beginning of the week, we've had a real big portal, a healing portal, and I'll be talking about that as this week we have, or we're still in the ripple effects of Venus in Aries conjoining Aries, goddess of discord and strife, and Chiron in Aries. So there has been this stellium of planets and asteroids and Chiron, and in a beautiful trine to Mars in Leo. So we've had a huge healing portal coming up, very fiery, very really to the core of healing the divine, sacred, wounded masculine and wounded feminine. So I'll be talking a little bit about that. Then also, let's have a look where the sun is at. The sun is in full swing in the sign of Gemini right now at 12 degrees. We got Mercury in Gemini and another big player, Jupiter, at the last degree points of Gemini as well. So that's a big, big transition as Jupiter is preparing to ingress into the sign of Cancer, which will be happening on Monday. Oh, actually, yeah, Monday into Tuesday next week on the 10th, 9th and 10th. So that's a big, big change of energies, a very benevolent shift that is coming up. And I probably will be talking about that a lot more. Not probably, I will be next Tuesday, because then it's exactly the day when Jupiter is moving into Cancer. But I will touch on that and what that can mean for us energetically. And I really feel like this last new moon that we just had in Gemini at 6 degrees, together with Mercury, has really, that was on the 27th of May, really opened up a portal of opportunities, of divine guidance, of our insights and dreams and visions and sharing of ideas, and that really opened up a container of yeah, forwards movement. There is momentum, especially with the Sun, Mercury in Gemini. We're moving forwards. It's very swift. We got the fleet-footed messenger, the trickster, the wheeler and dealer, the god of thresholds and this new moon, so this lunation is really guiding us throughout into most of the month of June until the end of June. So there is transformational steps forward, because this new moon was in a beautiful trine to Pluto. So we're really transforming old concepts, old versions of ourselves, conditioned ways of seeing things. There's so much support for us to move forward. Plus, Mercury is the magician. We have a lot of magic if we can allow the magic. And I think it was Jung that said something like, we can see everything as magic or nothing. And I certainly prefer to see the whole, every moment as a magical unfolding. And that's also where in the tarot, the fool comes to mind, that walks out into the world in awe and sees like everything for the first time, which opens up great opportunities. And I feel this new moon really allowed us that space where we can, if we can, observe when our controller comes in, when our rigidity wants to guide things, direct things in a certain way, and it's got to be like that. So I feel when we can catch ourselves, observe ourselves in a non-judgmental way, okay, I'm doing this again, I'm restricting myself that way. And I really feel the Gemini magic of this last new moon is unfolding, it's rippling, and we can really, we can work with that the fool's heroic journey, where anything is possible. And that's what the beauty is, because so many possibilities, unfoldings are beyond our wildest dreams. And definitely our mind can't make sense of it, can't grasp it, can't work it out, because our mind is really only here to learn in hindsight, because we can always only be in the present moment. And the mind is the greatest trickster, really, because it whatever comes up in the mind is like based on the past. There is conditions, we name things, we label stuff. So if we can, and which is the trick here too, because the trickster Mercury in Gemini, ruling Gemini, and the Sun in Gemini, and Jupiter in its fall in Gemini, there is a lot of thinking. We could be overthinking. We could be really, our minds are really, really potent right now. And simultaneously, the invitation is to surrender the fuck out of it, to don't buy into narrow-minded concepts that refine us. And talking about narrow-minded concepts and defining us, we know now Saturn is in the sign of Aries and will be there. We have this 3-month window of Saturn in Aries, and then also Neptune in Aries, and both planets will be retrograding back into Pisces later this year. But again, a portal of magic has just opened to give us the taste what's about to come for the next 30 years, with Saturn just initiating a 30-year cycle in the sign of Aries, which is super exciting. And so I feel there is a lot of paradoxes, and I feel this whole human condition is full of paradoxes, and I hope that's the plural of paradoxes, paradoxi. No, that sounds wrong. So yeah, this is really cool, I find, because there is Saturn is structure, is the planet visible with the naked eye, the last planet visible. So we have refinements, we have the mundane that's giving us the body and how we experience the world in a linear concept. Time comes in. Time is a big thing at the moment, and I feel we're really entering a time of a timeless time. We are really moving away from the man-made concept of time, the linearity, and maybe we've already noticed that often that we are only aware of time when we really look at the clock, or when we have an appointment and we got to be somewhere, or got to be at work on time, or any of that, which we can, I feel, really narrow down to only those certain moments in a day where we really need to be on time. And otherwise, and I feel that's really important too. I mean, we live in a linear construct, and timing is important. And it's important also to respect, of course, when we have time frames, when someone is waiting for us, or we got to be somewhere. So we got to acknowledge that and honor that. And that's really, really necessary. But other than that, I feel really, and I feel that's where things becoming more malleable. That's where this is the invitation now with Saturn and Neptune coming together, and they will come very close together this year. And and they already are pretty close. I mean, it's just 1 degree point apart, but the full conjunction won't be happening until early next year of 2026. But still, the energy is there, it's building, it's potent. So we have the energies. That's the paradox of Saturn together with Neptune in the sign of Aries. So there's actually a double, triple whammy of paradoxes. Let's start with looking at Saturn. Saturn is, as I said, linear, time. It's also referred to as father, god of karma. And we have that concept of being embodied. And also Saturn is slow. There is nothing fast with Saturn. Then we have the sign of Aries, which wants to power ahead, which is initiating things. So we are actually, the universe conspires with us to slow us down. So we are not throwing ourselves into the immaturity of our impulses, but to come into the initiation phase with greater maturity, growth, wisdom. So this is so beautiful, I find, because we got the fire, we feel it. We feel, yes, there is new paths, new ways are unfolding. I can feel it in my bones, in my heart. It's there. And it's cool. Like, yeah, fire, the heart, Saturn, the bones, our spine. So it's really important to align that, the heart, the spine, how we move every step in our fleshly experience. So there is so much forward movement, new ideas, that creative spark of initiating. Aries is the first sign in the zodiacal wheel. So we're really, we've crossed, and we're still, while we are definitely moving forwards, we're still walking the threshold of the Pisces Aries axis, because Saturn and Neptune will retrograde in about 3 months' time back into Pisces, which again, it's a liminal, it's a crossroads. And I feel we are at a lot of crossroads at the moment. We feel like, whoa, I'm moving forwards. And then we're also really aware of conditioned ways of beings, where we might hold ourselves back, where we feel held back, where there is anything that is, it's so much about divine timing in every moment, while we are ridding ourselves of the concept of time, which is sort of feels a bit like, a bit clouded, a bit confusing at times. And talking about confusing, the planet Neptune can feel confusing. There is a confusion. There is that the Aries desire nature is strong and wants to manifest and wants to take the lead. And also the thing is also with Aries, yes, we are taking the lead. We're becoming more of an authority, self-governed, sovereign. And that's a really big deal. Aries is also the sign, yes, it wants to jump right ahead into something new, but then it is about maintaining it. It is about discerning, and also having the inner conviction, having that the maturity also to stick with something, to really being dedicated to that path of our new ways of being, of remembering the parts that have been severed, of constructing and bringing together. And it's really like, I feel also planet Earth, Gaia, Pachamama, she is aligning, adjusting, the ley lines are shifting as we are, our whole being is aligning with our essence more and more, which is that the soul that is embodied, the heart, the spine of the world, the inner, the outer, the macro, the micro, it's all coming together. And with Saturn and Neptune, we're really reminded of our earthliness and of our heavenly position, because Neptune is our higher learning. It is the channeling. It is the divine guidance. And also with Neptune, with Saturn, we can often feel, oh my goodness, Saturn, another lesson, hardship, hard work, tough gig, cutting my losses, awesome. Um, but here is also another invitation, because what we want to manifest, what we are here, what we want to create, at first Saturn could be a bit of a downer and saying, no, you can't do this, you don't have that degree yet, you're going to study for the next 3 years before you can put yourself out there, you shouldn't, no, not quite. There could be that self-talk. Saturn, Capricorn can be that energy that is, can have that negative self-talk. But there is also, of course, that we're also feeling in, okay, what's realistic, what isn't. But then let's not allow the mind to come into that. Let's be in the moment, in the flow, and allow the magic. And that's, I feel, what everything that weave through is a thread of magic in everything. Wherever I look, there is magic. And the astrology really shows us, because yes, we have Saturn, which gives us the commitment, the strength, the maturity to move forwards, setting ourselves up for success in the long term. It's not premature, what ifs. There is some of that, but we can reorient, readjust our path, our direction, and our inner alignment. And then also, whenever we feel like, oh, I can't do this, or I have this dream, but yeah, I feel I'm so far away from it. Let's allow Neptune in. And the Saturn and Neptune coming together is really the manifestation of our dreams. So maybe we can hand things over to something greater, to speak it out loud when we're on our own, or share it with someone if we feel comfortable to do that, or speak it out loud for ourselves. Where, however, that feels comfortable, or write it out, however it works for you, to, yeah, speak out what my dreams, and also, okay, I'm gonna hand this over right now. I feel there is a blockage. I feel I'm not in alignment, or I don't understand that concept just now. And I hand it all over. I hand everything over that I don't understand, that doesn't make sense, that feels too hard, that there is pain, that there is a challenge. I hand it all over to pure love, to guidance, to universal unfoldings, whatever, God, universe, who cares? And really allow the magic of letting it unfold. And also I feel like in speaking out what we wish to create, and our that divine essence, the divine spark within, that is driven by that fire within, which wants to create. And so we can work it both. So it's important to, yeah, allowing our wholeness, our full embodiment, which isn't, of course, it's not the body, it's a holistic way of being. It is soul that gives everything the expression in this terrestrial world that we have chosen to this deal here in this existence. So this is huge. And it's so beautiful and divine. And also to remember that we still have the North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo until, I don't know, next year, 2026, middle of next year, reminding us to discern, to not getting hung up on old ways of being, allowing anxiety to arise, but don't base the future upon past experiences, and allow the magic. Pisces, bring in allow the sacred symbolism of things, the spiritual ways of being, without the new age bullshit spirituality, but the true authentic. Saturn reminds us of our true authentic self, our inner knowing. We know stuff. We know it. We got everything. And whatever we are drawn to, any teachings, any guidance, it's a beautiful way to explore more about ourselves, what's already there, without buying into any narrative, any firm dogmas out there. I feel we're really moving away from dogmatic, heavily religious ways of being that are restricting us, that are creating more guilt, shame, and yeah, and fear, really, ultimately. And I feel like, particularly with Saturn rules over fear. Virgo is often very anxious because we want to be particular, specific, we want to get it right, but the righteous way of being is already in our essence, and there is no right or wrong. It's everything is allowed, every feeling is allowed to bubble up, and it's so important. So also this week, as we are looking ahead, and as I said just yesterday, and we're still feeling the ripples. It was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and we've had this alignment of Venus in Aries coming together with Aries, Eris, goddess of discord and strife, the daughter of Nyx. And there is rageful feminine qualities, together with Chiron in Aries, healing the wounded masculine. With Venus, they're in the sign of Mars, again in the Mars-ruled masculine sign of Aries. She is healing her own wounded self, masculine, feminine, balancing. We've probably experienced a lot of magic over the last days, also pain around maybe relationships, around our inner alignment of um, receiving versus giving, of being in asserting ourselves versus allowing ourselves to be in the flow, whatever it is. So we are in a healing portal for the whole week, really. And this is happening in a trine to Mars, the masculine force in Leo, where the sun is shining upon us to do the work, to maybe do some inner child work too, or have conversations with friends, or seek a therapist of our choice and of that we trust and resonate with. It's such a beautiful, powerful place of really allowing. Also, like Venus in Aries, she is rageful. The goddess Aries, she is repressed, suppressed. There is deep pain around, yeah, that core wounding of separation, of being a female, being a male. What are the expectations of me? And I often feel like so many men, I feel for men in this world, in this era, because I feel there's so many expectations on men, what women expect of men, how their mothers treated them, their sisters, what was expected of them in their upbringing. I feel, again, there is so much confusion, Neptune in Aries, confusion around the masculine and how it should show up in the world. The traditional man who cuts wood and does shit and works with the hands and whatever, builds the house for everyone and provides. And or then there's the masculine, the vulnerability, the beautiful vulnerability of the masculine, Chiron in Aries. Then there is, and of course there is also the, and I feel there is not, we need to move away from all those conditioned ways of what masculinity is, what femininity is, what the expectations are around that, and what the man should do and a woman should do, and no matter what orientation, sexually, gender-wise, doesn't matter. I feel we really need to, or there's this invitation to connect with our core essence, allow each other to be through the beautiful chironic vulnerability. Chiron means vulnerability. There is a wound here, and we all feel that. We're all healing the core wound of separation. It is, yeah, it's a tough gig. It's not easy. We've all had our, even in the most beautiful upbringing, we're also conditioned by society. We have our themes in life, what we're working through. But then a lot of us had very unstable, abusive childhoods, and I include myself with that. And it's a lifelong journey, I find, for myself to, yeah, to really tapping into what is my essence and where is that, especially with Aries, there is this primordial, yeah, the primordial void where we can tap into the beautiful portal of knowing ourselves for the first time. And that's why I got the background, the Ouroboros behind me, man. The snake eating its own tail, beginnings and endings are right there, shedding the past, slaying the dragons from the past while we are birthing ourselves into a new way of existence through this excitement and the lot of fire that's happening. There is so much creative self-expression, sexual expression that we probably developing anew or remembering. Is like, wow, I'm a sexual being. I'm a being of nature. It's beautiful, particularly with Venus in the Mars ruled sign and Mars in Leo. There's so much fire and self-exploration and discovery. And how beautiful is that to gather around the hearth, the fireplace, where Mercury, the messenger god, takes us into our own subconscious. So this week also we have, yeah, the planets are boom, moving on, and also really powerful this week towards on the 7th, 6th and 7th of June, which is here the Friday, Saturday. We have Venus at the last degree. It's the critical degree of 29 degrees of Aries. We have Jupiter at 29 degrees of Gemini. And the interesting thing here is because Venus is not comfortable in Aries, she's the furthest away from Libra, where she is in her rulership. So she's in her detriment there. There is Jupiter in his fall in the sign of Gemini and at the last degree. So we have an alignment and accumulation of energies that are at its peak at the last degree. Something's got to give. Something is breaking and birthing itself into new ways of being. And I feel like, but the cool thing is Venus and Jupiter, which are the two most benevolent planets, whenever they are in a benevolent dialogue, which they are in a sextile, this 6th, 7th of June, yeah, there is magic again. It's about love, relationships, expansion, inner knowingness, self-expression. Yes, it may not be easy there. It's feisty. It comes from a place of conditioning. There could be wounding, reactivity, but the sextile brings possibilities, opportunities to heal, to expand, and allow the benevolence of both planets to unfold in most magical ways. So this is beautiful this week. And then on the 7th, we have Venus moving into her own rulership of Taurus. Big, big change of energy. Again, she's sensual. She is using all her senses. She is nature. She's voluptuous. She is engaged with the body, nature, groundedness. She loves food for the soul, food for the body, a deep connection with our embodiment and appreciation. Beautiful time to get in touch with the body. And she will be there until Venus in Taurus until the 5th of July. So we get about a month of Venus in the sign of Taurus from the 7th of June till the 5th of July. Very sensual, a deep connection with ourselves. Also, Venus in Taurus rules our spending habits, money. So money issues, money challenges, also just money themes can be up. How can I generate more financial abundance? Maybe could be a theme. How can I tap into my worthiness? Venus in Taurus is about self-worth, my values, value system. How much value do I put upon myself? Is it aligned with who I am now, or is there old ways of conditioning that we can take layers of? So big, beautiful energies with Venus in Taurus from the 7th. And then next week, I will be talking about Jupiter moving into Cancer, which will happen on the 10th of June, next Tuesday, which is beautiful. So also we have Venus coming out of her, a sign she isn't comfortable in. Jupiter's coming out of Gemini, where Jupiter wasn't comfortable in, into Cancer, where Jupiter loves being in Cancer. It's a beautiful divine flow. There is greater messages. Um, and yeah, there's a deep connection, expansion from the inside, tapping into our divine wisdom. And I will talk about that more next week. So it's really, we are preparing, we are getting in touch with ourselves. And truly, with Venus in Taurus, we are in touch because we use all our senses. And then also what's happening by the end of this week, or we got, and I talk about Mercury will also move into Cancer, which is beautiful. Making an encounter before that with Jupiter. So Mercury also at the last degree points of Gemini. So there is something around, we want to communicate something. There is sharing of ideas, there's expansion. We might be more social come Sunday, expanding, sharing, and really also there's a finalization as well. Jupiter, the last degree of Gemini, being the most gaseous planet, expansion, but also moving into Cancer in the next 2 days after. There is something that is culminating, that is coming to an end, and maybe something we want to share, that we want to communicate with someone. And so there is, again, the threshold walk of letting go, of bringing in. And by then we also have the moon in Scorpio, so it could be a bit of an intense weekend in a way, around communications, how we feel, what we want to share, our expectations. And also the next week, as Venus moves on in the sign of Taurus, she will come immediately into a square to Pluto. So again, relationship stuff is up, intensity, passion, longing, desire, nature. And there's so much desire there at this point in time, with so much fire. Saturn, Neptune, Aries, Chiron, Venus still for a couple of days in Aries, Mars in Leo, fire, wherever we look. And so it will be a nice grounded experience come the weekend. We will receive more groundedness with Venus in her rulership of Taurus. Yeah, so it's an intense week, beautiful, creative self-expression wherever we look, communication, momentum, socializing, sharing ideas, and also claiming our own responsible self-expression and how we want to show up. So important to know this is how I want to show up, and I own my shit. I own how, if I'm projecting, if I'm reacting. And the last days and the last degrees of Venus in Aries from now until the 7th of June, we can be a bit reactive. We can be impulsive. And that's a good time to check in. Yeah, where am I coming from here? And I'm a bit attached to Venus moving into Taurus, and I just want to read out a brief excerpt of my book, Codex of the Soul by Berta Luce. This is Venus talking. Born of sea foam from the fury and semen of the sky god's castration, I'm the source of all passion, the magnet of attraction. Beauty beheld, the sensual seduction is my spell. All affection is my ram. I send the kiss you cannot resist, with amorous embrace from my son Eros. Lips so voluptuous, the curve of Cupid's arrow, shall pierce you with chocolate delight. Wow, how dramatic. And the song that shivers through your thigh, the frequency of this flesh temptress, of this courtship and caress. Your refusal is a futile attempt, for by the finger and the linger of love's scent shall you enter the rapture of the goddess. Woohoo! Well, anyway, on that note, I'll leave you in your own desire nature and creative self-expression, and so much love. Thanks for listening. And I'm really, really excited. I'll be launching my website, I hope by the end of the week. Or latest next week, when Venus is in full swing in Taurus. And yeah, actually it will be next week. I feel like with Jupiter moving into Cancer will be the perfect time. And my offerings, and I'd love to do one-on-one readings with you and answer any questions and be assisting you on this journey and helping you in how you can thrive in 2025. Let me know, get in touch, or even if you just want to share, not just if you want to share how you are feeling, how you're navigating your own boat. Sending so much love and light. I don't like that actually, love and light. It's a bit outworn, isn't it? It's a sunny day. I send you so much sunshine, and thank you for listening, and I'll check in with you next Tuesday. Bye for now. Much love.